am discussing with you nuances of war reporting and conflict reporting. So, now let us discuss about the organizations and reporters concerning the war zones. The number one is international news organizations. Large international news organizations play a crucial role in providing global perspective on conflicts. For example, BBC or CNN are well-known international news outlets covering wars worldwide, offering diverse viewpoints. Then there are local and regional media, which provide on-the-ground insights, often offering a deeper understanding of the local context. For example, Afghan media outlets such as Tulu News provide localized coverage of the conflict in Afghanistan. Third one are the embedded journalists. Journalists embedded with military units offer frontline perspectives and real-time reporting. For example, during the Iraq War, embedded journalists like Michael Ward provided first-hand accounts of military operations. Number 4 is independent journalists and freelancers. They often provide alternative viewpoints and in-depth reporting, sometimes at higher personal risk. For example, Mary Colvin, an independent journalist, reported from conflict zones and was tragically killed in Syria. Number 5 is citizen journalism and social media. You would have certainly heard about this term, citizen journalists. So, ordinary citizens using social media platforms contribute to war coverage, providing immediate grassroots perspectives. For example, the Arab Spring witnessed widespread citizen journalism with individuals using platforms like Twitter to share real-time updates. Apart from this, there are humanitarian organizations also. Organizations focused on humanitarian efforts contribute to war coverage by highlighting the impact on civilians and advocating for assistance. Number 7 is government and military spokespersons. Official statements from governments or press releases, press notes, and military spokespeople, they also contribute to the official narrative of conflicts. So, for example, press conferences held by the Pentagon during the Gulf War provided updates on military operations. Apart from this, there are war photographers who also contribute to the coverage. Photographers capture powerful images that convey the human impact of wars, shaping public perception. For example, James Nashville, known for documenting conflicts, has produced iconic pictures depicting the harsh realities of war. Next one is alternative media outlets. So, independent or alternative media outlets may present unconventional perspectives and challenge mainstream narratives. For example, Democracy Now! Provides critical and alternative coverage of conflicts, challenging mainstream media narratives. Next is academic and research institutions. So, such organizations contribute to war coverage through in-depth analysis and scholarly insights. For example, the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute offers research on global conflicts and arms trade, contributing to informed discourse. So, while doing all this, one can also think about the working lives of war correspondents, and herein I would like to discuss about that. So, one is the on-the-ground reporting, which includes field presence. War correspondents spend significant amount of time in conflict zones, often embedded with military units or reporting from the front lines. But there are a lot of risks involved in this. They face physical dangers, including the threat of violence, bombings, and exposure to hazardous environments. Then is the adaptability and resilience. This is a constant movement. Correspondents must be adaptable, moving quickly between locations to cover unfolding events. And this is emotional resilience. Witnessing and reporting on traumatic events requires emotional resilience to cope with the psychological impact of the job. Then there is risk assessment and security safety measures. Correspondents prioritize safety, employing risk assessment strategies and often relying on security terms and equipment. Hostile environments, many undergo specialized training to navigate and survive in such hostile environments. Then there is another learning and another important issue related to this, which is about multi-platform reporting. Correspondents report through various mediums, including written articles, pictures, video, and social media, adapting to the preferences of their audiences. There is also real-time reporting. The immediate nature of digital platforms require quick and real-time reporting, enhancing the journalist's ability to provide up to the minute updates. Then is building contacts and sources. Local connections are important. Establishing relationships with the local sources is crucial for gaining insights into the conflict nuances. Correspondents often build networks with military personnel, humanitarian workers, and local civilians to gather diverse perspectives. Then is also navigating censorship and restrictions. Government controls, we are aware that they would always exist. Correspondents may face censorship and restrictions imposed by governments or military authorities, requiring strategic approaches to bypass limitations. In some cases, journalists may need to operate discreetly to gather information without drawing attention, which is called the undercover reporting. Then there are ethical challenges. Journalists strive to maintain objectivity while reporting on conflicts, avoiding becoming a mouthpiece for any party involved. Decisions about what to report, especially when it involves graphic or distressing content, pose ethical dilemmas. Then long working hours and stress. Correspondents often endure long deployments away from the home, impacting their work-life balance. The high-stress environment of conflict zones can certainly contribute to burnout and mental health challenges. Apart from this, there is also an impact on personal lives. Family strain, the demanding nature of the job can strain personal relationships with long periods away from the home and the emotional toll of covering traumatic events. Reintegration is another important aspect. Transitioning back to normal life after intense deployment can be challenging for war correspondents. Now, what are the components and themes in war reporting, and what is the construction of enemy? So, identification of factors is crucial here. War reporting involves identifying key actors, including nations, factions, and individuals involved in the conflict. And what is the construction of the enemy? The identification of an enemy is central to the narrative, shaping how the conflict is framed and understood by the audience. Narrative framing. Journalists frame the narrative by selecting specific events, perspectives, and language to convey the story. And the construction of the enemy is the framing of events influences how the enemy is portrayed, emphasizing certain characteristics or actions. Then visual representation. War reporting includes visual elements such as pictures and videos. The choice of visuals contribute to the construction of the enemy, depicting them in the ways that evoke specific emotions or perceptions. Then the other term is about language and terminology. Journalists use language to describe events, actions, and individuals. And the terminology used to refer to the enemy influences public perception, with words like aggression or terrorists carrying specific meanings. Then are cultural and religious references. War reporting may incorporate cultural and religious context to explain motivations and actions. Construction of enemy, cultural and religious references can contribute to the framing of the enemy, emphasizing differences or potential threats. Then there are moral and ethical dimensions. Reporting often touches on the moral and ethical aspects of the conflict. The portrayal of the enemy in moral or ethical terms shapes public opinion, framing them as villains or threats to be confronted. Then is about human stories and impact on civilians. War reporting often includes human interest stories to convey the impact on civilians. Depicting the suffering of civilians at the hands of the enemy can evoke strong emotional responses, influencing how the enemy is perceived. The next point is national identity and patriotism. War reporting may invoke national identity and patriotism. Framing the enemy as a threat to national identity or values enhances the narrative of defending one's own against an external adversary. Then it is about expert analysis and commentary. Journalists often include expert opinions and analysis in war reporting. Expert perspectives contribute to shaping the image of the enemy, providing context and interpretation. The next point is dynamics of power and geopolitics. The components are war reporting delves into geopolitical dynamics and power struggles. And the construction of the enemy is the framing of the enemy is influenced by geopolitical considerations reflecting alliances, interests and historical context. Now, what is the concept of hybrid war? It is like a tricky kind of conflict where countries use not just regular fighting but also other sneaky methods. They mix up things by using politics, money, information and more. It's not clear who is doing what and they might use tricks to confuse everyone. Here's a simpler breakdown. So instead of just using armies and weapons in hybrid war, countries use lots of different ways to fight, for example, politics, money and information. Then is also making things confusing. In hybrid war, it's hard to tell what's really going on because they mix things up. It's like playing a game where the rules keep changing. And then there's also about big versus small. Even if one country is not as strong, they can still win by using clever tricks. It's not always about having the biggest army. The next one is about secret actions. Sometimes in hybrid war, it's tough to figure out who is doing what. Countries might use secret groups or do things in a way that makes it hard to catch them. The next would be also about tricking with information. They use lies or tricky information to make people believe certain things. It's like playing with people's mind to get them on their side. One point could also be about messing with politics. Countries might try to mess up with the way other countries are run. They could support certain groups or mess with elections to get what they want. But in this age, digital tricks are also very crucial to understand. This would include hacking into computers, spreading computer viruses or messing with the internet, which are part of hybrid war. It's like fighting in the digital world. The next one is about money moves. They might use money as a weapon too. For example, they could stop doing business with another country to hurt their economy. Then what are the issues? Risk and risk management. Threats to personal safety. War reporting is a challenging field that involves journalists covering conflicts and war zones to provide accurate and timely information. This profession comes with inherent risks, both physical and ethical. So let's explore some of the risks and risk management strategies associated with war reporting. One is about physical risks, combat zones, exposure to direct violence, bombings and gunfire. Other is about kidnapping. Journalists may be targeted for ransom or political reasons. Third is diseases and environmental hazards, poor sanitation, lack of medical facilities, and exposure to very harsh conditions. There are also psychological risks. Trauma, witnessing violence, death, suffering can lead to emotional distress. Post-traumatic stress disorder, which is also called PTSD, is a common risk for war reporters. Then there are ethical concerns and ethical risks, bias and manipulation, and compromising objectivity. This can also involve legal risks. Laws in conflict zones, journalists may face legal challenges due to the complex nature of conflict-related laws. Then detention and arrest. Reporters might be arrested or detained by authorities in conflict zones. Now, how do you do risk management in war reporting? Crucial is training and preparation. Hostile environment training is very crucial. Equip journalists with skills for survival in conflict zones. First aid training is a must. Basic medical knowledge is crucial for emergencies. Security measures are a must. Protective gear, use of helmets, flak jackets, and other security equipments. Local assistance, establish contacts with local fixers, and support networks. Digital security again is very important. Protecting against hacking, digital surveillance, and information leaks. Encryption, secure communication channels to protect sensitive information. And there are some ethical guidelines also. Maintaining objectivity, adhering to journalistic principles of accuracy and impartiality. Balancing the need for information with the potential impact on individuals. This is also about collaboration and support, working in teams, enhancing safety by having support and backup. The media organization should be providing them resources, insurance, and legal support. It also includes logistical planning, which means communication plans, establishing reliable communication channels. Evacuation plans, knowing escape routes and procedures in case of emergencies. Legal consultations, understand local laws. Journalists should be aware of and comply with local regulations. Legal support, access to legal assistance in case of detention or legal challenges. While war reporting is vital for providing or informing the public about global events, it comes with significant risk. Effective risk management involves a combination of training, security measures, ethical considerations, and logistical planning. Media organizations, journalists, and support networks must work together to mitigate risks and ensure the safety and well-being of those reporting from conflict zones. There are threats to the personal safety, and when it comes to personal safety, understanding risks and practicing effective risk management is crucial. This would include, number one, knowing definition of risk. Risk is the possibility of harm or loss. In daily life, we face various risks, and understanding them is the first step to staying safe. Risks could be of various types: physical risks like accidents, injuries, or natural disasters; social risks like crime, violence, or unsafe environments; health risks such as illness or exposure to harmful substances; digital risks such as cyber threats, identity theft, and online scams. Now, what are the threats to personal safety? Crime, including theft, assault, robbery. Safety measures: stay aware of surroundings, use well-lit areas, and secure personal belongings. Accidents, slips or falls or car accidents. Follow the rules, use seat belts, and pay attention for your surroundings. Natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, storms. Know evacuation routes, have emergency supplies, and stay informed about local risks. Health hazards you must be aware of: cyber threats, identity theft, online scams, and cyberbullying. So, awareness is the key here. Stay informed, be aware of potential risks in your environment, and there should also be situational awareness. Pay attention to your surroundings. There also has to be preparedness. Have a plan for emergencies and practice it. Keep essential items like water, food, and first aid supplies. Secure your belongings, protect your valuables. Travel safely, use well known routes, especially at night. Health and well being is important. Digital safety. Herein, I would like to use the term cyber hygiene. Use strong passwords, update softwares, and be cautious online. Privacy setting. Adjust privacy settings on social media and online accounts. So, being mindful of potential risks, staying informed, and adopting proactive measures are essential for personal safety. By incorporating risk management strategies into our daily lives, we can significantly reduce the likelihood of harm and better protect ourselves from various threats. So, there should be objectivity and rationality and accuracy of media coverage. So, objectivity in war reporting refers to presenting information about conflicts in a fair, impartial, and unbiased manner. It involves avoiding favoritism, personal opinions, or any form of distortion that could sway public perception. Balanced representation, objective approach, avoiding biases, and verification of facts. Before reporting on an event in a war zone, a journalist verifies the facts through multiple sources. This could involve cross-referencing eyewitness accounts, official statements, and other credible reports. Avoiding misinformation and an objective report ensures that the information presented is accurate and not based on unverified rumors. This helps prevent the spread of misinformation during a conflict. Contextual reporting. In war reporting, providing context is essential for a comprehensive understanding. An objective report would offer historical background, geopolitical factors, and the root causes of the conflict. Also, avoiding simplification. Rather than simplifying the conflict into black and white narratives, objective reporting acknowledges the complexities involved, recognizing the most conflicts have deep-rooted historical, cultural, and political dimensions. So, in today's class, I discussed with you different dimensions of conflict reporting and also war reporting. For this particular lecture, I have referred to some of the sources which you can see at the end of my presentation. These are some of the references. You can go through them and enhance your knowledge further. Thank you so much.